and welcome to another episode of Frugal Noodle, the podcast dedicated to helping you understand your money, finance, retirement, early or otherwise. And in today's episode, subscription mindset. As a disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is simply me sharing as I learn. I've mentioned it on my TikTok and in other episodes before, but the subscription mindset, what is it? Well, $10 a month for this streaming service, $100 a year for this membership, less than the price of a cup of coffee per day per month. Subscriptions are ruling our options of what we buy, from entertainment to shopping, cars to food. The subscription model is invading every area of our life. Amazon, Netflix, Spotify, HelloFresh, Volvo, Adobe. The list goes on. If you want it, well, now you can't own it, but you can pay for monthly or yearly access to it. Ownership is a subject for another day, however. Today we're talking about this subscription mindset we find ourselves in. Most of us will scour the details of whatever service we're considering in determining whether or not it's worth the monthly price. And depending on who you are, you may walk away from something that costs $10 a month because it doesn't offer enough to be worth that price. But what if we look at the subscription mindset and apply it to other areas of our lives? If you're one of those people who buys a drink from Starbucks every weekday, going off an average of $2.75, which we know those Frappuccinos cost way more than that, then your monthly subscription to Starbucks is $60-ish. Okay, that's an easy one. Everyone loves telling young folks to stop buying Starbucks all the time. If you grab 2 drinks at the bar with friends every Friday night, going off a generous average of $8 per drink plus a 20% tip, then by the end of the year, your subscription to social drinking is nearly $1,000. Yeah, I know. Everyone also tells you to stop buying drinks at the bar. It's expensive and you shouldn't do that either. But here's a good one for you. Chiquita doesn't tell you this, but if you buy 6 bananas a week, every week, using an average weight of 8 ounces per banana, and 57 cents per pound, then in a year, you're paying about $90 for your banana subscription. Bet you didn't think 57 cents could add up that fast, eh? And sure, maybe $90 a year isn't that much in terms of a year, and bananas are an extremely frugal food to buy. But we bat our eyes at a streaming service that charges $15 a month, yet it's loaded with original content. We never consider just how much the rest of our decisions cost in the grand scheme. So let's really drive these examples home by imagining them as investments and using the model for exponential growth based off of an average of 7% of annual growth. If you invested your banana subscription, $90 this year, in 5 years' time, it would be worth $126.23, a near $40 gain. Not impressive enough? Okay, let's do your Starbucks subscription. $60 a month equals $720 a year. $720 invested this year is worth $1,009.84. That's $289 in gains. All right, for the heck of it, your subscription to social drinking costs about $1,000 a year. In 5 years, $1,000 invested is worth $1,402.55. That's over $400 gained. And if you invest these amounts every year for 5 years, then the amount only explodes. The point of this exercise is not to get you to stop hanging with friends at the bar or stop eating bananas. It's a matter of perspective. And when you begin to understand the perspective of how much your financial decisions can cost you, then you're more likely to make financial decisions that can make you wealthier in the future. There are essential subscriptions in our lives, however, those being food, shelter, transportation, and the like. How much those costs are up to us to an extent, but we will always pay for them in some way. Then there are non-essential subscriptions like Starbucks and social drinking that can be eliminated or replaced with alternatives such as making coffee at home or having drinks at home with your friends. Again, you don't need to make any changes at all, but having better handle on the reins of your financial future is an undeniably liberating feeling. If you'll recall, in a previous episode, I mentioned that my wife and I had partook in a almost nightly routine of having popcorn, the microwave variety. And I did all the math of what that added up to, and that was something we eliminated. One, because we wanted to do something that was a little healthier, like making our own stovetop popcorn, but also something that was more financially frugal. And you might look at a bag of popcorn and say, oh, that only costs like $1 or whatever, but those dollars adds up, and that's the point. People look past the pennies, the dimes, the dollars. They think if I only spend a couple dollars on this a week, it's not that big a deal because I get paid every week or every other week or whatever, and I never notice the difference. But when you look at it in this subscription mindset approach or vision, it's easier to look at it and say, it actually costs more than I imagined it did in a month, in a year, or however much of a length of time you want to look at it. And then when you look at it as an investment, as opposed to being that vice that you have or whatever it may be, it's even more eye-opening to say, oh, I could have made this much extra money by investing this subscription. Really, anything can be looked at in this light, but it doesn't mean that you need to change anything or eliminate anything. It's just a way of gaining perspective. So yeah, I've eliminated our Amazon Prime subscription. We didn't feel we needed that membership because the most that we get out of Amazon is the free shipping. And if you spend like $25 or $30 on an order, then you get free shipping for almost every item that Amazon offers. So we eliminated our Prime membership and save that money every year and put it towards an investment. That's obviously not a lot. Being in a whole year, it's only $120 or $100 or whatever it is right now, but it makes a difference. But when you look at bananas in a year, it's almost $100. So buying bananas every week equals an Amazon subscription in a year almost. And maybe I'm talking in circles at this point, but just look at it in this perspective to understand how much you're really spending on things. And then if you're not going to eliminate it or change anything about it, another thing you can do, which I've mentioned before, is contribute some multiple of the thing that you're buying to investments. So if, for instance, you don't want to eliminate bananas, maybe you can contribute 2 times, 5 times, 10 times that annual banana subscription price to an investment to feel better about understanding how much you spend on bananas. If you do 10 times that price a year as an investment, then $90 becomes $900, and you invest that every year, then it's basically like you had invested that same social drinking figure that I had mathed out earlier in the episode. And these are just ideas to get you motivated to start cutting on costs so you can invest more and hopefully retire early, which just brings it back to the whole purpose of this podcast, to motivate people to stay encouraged, get their financial reins in their own hands, and decide what kind of future they want to plan for themselves financially. If you are in that boat where you're thinking you can't retire like your parents did or their parents did, telling you that you can, it just takes a lot more finesse than they needed because the odds are against us, but with some amount of effort, it can be done and you should try to do it. But of course, this is all just my opinion and I'm no expert, so grains of salt and for what it's worth. But thank you for listening to this episode of Frugal Noodle. Be sure to follow the show wherever you get podcasts so you can stay up to date on the latest episodes, and follow Frugal Noodle wherever you are on social media. Links in the show notes below. The music for this episode was produced by CARBS. And on next week's episode, we're going to talk about how the FIRE movement, and frugal living coexist and how they translate to a more environmentally friendly lifestyle. But thank you for listening to this episode again. This is Cody. I will see you next week.